Hey everyone, how are you? It is me, Dottie Mae again. Here we are, Monday, October 8th, 10:37 p.m. And I kind of messed my personal history list up here a little bit. Yesterday, it said, where did you grow up? What do you remember from that place? And I talked about the houses I lived in. Well, today it says, think about your house growing up. What was it like? So, I guess I kind of messed it up. So, I am thinking that yesterday it was supposed to be about the city I grew up. So, I'm just going to flip these around since I already talked about the house I grew up in, or the house is. The one being my dad's and the other being my mom's. So today I shall talk about the cities I grew up in. Talk about them somewhat. I mean, not a whole lot to talk about. I grew up with my dad, like I said, from when I was young, when my parents were divorced. I lived with him until the summer before my ninth grade year. And I lived in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's a decent sized city. It's a city, a metropolis. And we lived on a side street. It wasn't a very busy street. And our neighbors were pretty close on either side of us. My house number was... Do I want to tell you my house number, or do I want to tell you my street name? My street name was Ariana. It's Ariana. Arianna. And there were, my best friend when I was young lived just a couple houses down. So I spent a lot of time with her, actually. And another good friend lived on the corner of the street. She lived on the corner of Alpine and Ariana. Now, Alpine was a busy road. So we lived on the side street off from Alpine. And in elementary school, I had to walk to school. And it was just taking Ariana to Alpine, over to Myrtle, and then the school was across Alpine, but the school was on Myrtle, so it wasn't very far. And there was a crossing guard at Alpine. And I remember in 6th grade, I was a safety, so I got to wear one of those fancy orange belts and help kids cross the street at Myrtle. That was fun. I enjoyed being a safety. And Harrison Park was a big elementary school. Went up to 6th grade, but at one point it was also a middle school and had 7th and 8th grade in the building as well, but not while I was going there. It was another time. But it was a big school, an older building. It was a night. I love that building, the historical look of the building. It was pretty neat. Let's see, what else can I say about... There was a corner store called 7-Eleven around the corner that I would often have to go to get my stepmom her Big Gulp Pepsi and cigarettes. She could write me a note and I could get her her cigarettes. Marlboro Green, menthol. Yeah, That was usually the reason I had to go there, was for her Big Gulp Pepsi and her cigarettes. Rarely did I ever get to get anything there. Rode our bikes a lot. There was a boy that lived kitty corner across the street from me that I had the biggest crush on. Oh my gosh. His name was Tommy. I'm not telling you his last name. But I thought he was the cutest boy. I had a big crush on him. I even got into a fist fight with a girl after school one day just to try to impress him. Is that crazy, the things you do when you're a kid? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know if he ever knew I had a crush on him. I never told him. I don't think my friends ever did. But yeah, I thought he was the cutest. He was dark complected. I think he just had naturally dark skin. Because they weren't Hispanic or anything. So, but yeah, he was really cute. And there were quite a few kids that lived down the road further. So, there was one girl that grew up on that street that was convinced the street was what do you want to say? Like, everybody on the street had some sort of what do you want to say? Mental illness or something. I don't know. So funny. Like, every kid on the street grew up having some sort of problem. I don't know. I don't know how you want to say it, but whatever. The kids were all nice enough, though. She didn't go to our elementary school. She went to a different one, I think. And actually, my best friend that I grew up with, she went to the Christian elementary school. I went to the public elementary school. So yeah, we didn't see each other during the days. We could only spend time in the evening and then on weekends. And then every other weekend I would go to my mom's house or her apartment. She actually lived in an apartment. And then that was up until, like I said, the summer before my 9th grade year. And then at that point I moved with her up into Sparta, Michigan, which is a smaller town, a lot smaller than Grand Rapids. Very small country town. Lot less. It was a predominantly white town, but we did have some Hispanics because they came up into the Sparta area to pick apples. They were migrant workers. So there were Hispanics that went to the school during the fall season. But other than that, it was predominantly white. I think there was one black kid in my class. Sparta was very, very different than Grand Rapids, that's for sure. It was definitely a culture shock at first to go from an inner city to a small country town. But I got along with the kids that I initially met. And there were a couple of boys that I met that I had crushes on. But high school was tough. Not like, it wasn't tough like the schoolwork was not tough. It was tough, like I was an outcast. I guess I was a nerd. I don't know. Socially, I didn't get along so well. I had a very low self-esteem. I didn't have a lot of friends. So, yeah, high school was hard in that aspect. I got teased by some. Oh, hey. What the hell? I wonder if that just went out for you guys. My computer just the screen just went out. I hope it didn't go out for you guys. If it did, my apologies. I'm not redoing this video. So anyway, yep, that was my city life and my country bumpkin life. I went from living in a two-story house on a city block to living in a single wide trailer in a trailer park, having to take a school bus to school all throughout high school. Never had a car to drive. So yeah, definitely different. So I think that's about it for Personal History Day 7. I will be back tomorrow for Day 8. We will see you then. Peace and love and happiness. Bye-bye.